Okay, rhetorical synthesis. The student wants to emphasize the uniqueness of Taylor's accomplishment. Okay, so we got to figure out what Taylor's accomplishment is and what made it unique. So, in the midst of the U.S. Civil War, Susie Taylor escaped slavery and fled to Union Army-occupied St. Simon's Island off the Georgia coast. Okay, that's background. She began working for an all-black Army regiment as a nurse and teacher, more background. In 1902, she published a book about the time she spent with the regiment. Okay? Her book was the only Civil War memoir to be published by a black woman. That's the uniqueness. It was the only one. It's unique. It's still available in print and online. So Taylor fled to Simon's Island, which was then occupied by the Union, for whom she began working. That says nothing about the uniqueness of her accomplishments. Her unique accomplishment is she published the only book by a black woman in the Civil War. So after escaping slavery, Taylor began working for an all-black Army regiment as a nurse and teacher. That's not emphasizing the unique book. The book Taylor wrote about the time she spent with the regiment is still available for readers in print and online. Okay, that's true. I mean, the book is the unique part, but that's not emphasizing it. That's not meeting this condition. It's just kind of telling us there is a book. D, Taylor was the only black woman to publish a Civil War memoir. Yes, that's why it's unique. So it's emphasizing why it was unique. It was the only Civil War memoir published by a black woman. D is correct. Okay, rhetorical synthesis. The student wants, let's figure out the goal to accomplish, to make and support a generalization about honeybees. Okay, so if it's a generalization, we don't want necessarily all the details. So let's take a look. Cities tend to have a wide range of flowering vegetation, park, yards, and gardens. This vegetation provides a varied diet for honeybees, strengthening bees' immune systems. On average, 62.5% of bees in an urban area will survive a harsh winter. Well, how do they do it? Probably because they take advantage of the flowering vegetation and the varied diet. Rural areas are often dominated by monoculture crops, such as corn or wheat. So there's only one. So one or two crops, that is food for diet in rural areas. In cities, we've got varied diet for bees. Okay, and a large percentage of bees live. On average, only 40% of honeybees in rural areas. So what's the generalization? That more bees survive because of their immune systems in urban areas than do in rural areas. Okay, cities tend to have a wider range of flowering vegetation than do rural areas, which are often dominated by monoculture crops. Is that the generalization about honeybees? That's not about honeybees at all. B, in urban areas, over 60% of honeybees on average will survive a harsh winter, whereas in rural areas, only 40% will. It's really a generalization if we put specific numbers to it. I'm going to guess maybe not, but we won't cross that one out yet, just because it's true. The strength of honeybees' immune system depends on what the bees eat, and a varied diet is more available to bees in an urban area than those in a rural area. Yes, that's a generalization, right? I think that might be correct. Let's keep going. Honeybees are more likely to thrive in cities than in rural areas because the varied diet available in urban areas strengthens the bees' immune systems. Whoa, okay. The difference between C and D is what? Honeybees are more likely to thrive in cities. It's a higher percentage. In general, it's more likely to survive. C doesn't say that, right? And a varied diet is more available to bees in urban areas. So it says they have a varied diet more in urban than rural areas. It does not say they're more likely to thrive as a result. It's because of that they survive. I think D is going to be the better answer here. It makes and supports a generalization. That's the general claim that bees will survive in cities more than in the rural areas. Why? Because the varied diet. D is the correct answer. Okay, rhetorical synthesis, we can see by the bullet points. So we've got to accomplish the right goal that the student wants. In this case, to present a study's results. So right away, I'm looking for the findings, which are probably down toward the end. In the study trials, macaques frequently called out and gestured to humans holding food. In the study trials, macaques called out and gestured. Okay, not sure what that means. Let's read the whole thing. In 2018, such and such were observing wild macaques in India's national park. They saw macaques calling out to and gesturing at humans who were eating or carrying food. They designed a study to find out if the macaques were intentionally communicating or trying to persuade the humans to share food. Okay, I'm not sure what the real difference there is. If they were persuading the humans to share food, isn't that intentional communication? All right, I don't know, let's go on. In the study trials, macaques frequently called out to and gestured at humans holding food. So they called out and they gestured. That was one of the results. In the study trials, macaques called out to and gestured at empty-handed humans less frequently. So they frequently called out to people with food. They very infrequently called out to empty-handed people. Okay, so they're not trying to communicate for communication's sake. They want food. They're saying, hey, give me your food. Okay? So the results are that the macaques were calling out for food. So A, macaques in the study called out to and gestured more frequently at humans holding food than at empty-handed humans. That is correct, right? That is the results. Literally the last two bullet points. Okay? That's probably going to be correct. Let's check the others. In 2018, researchers observed macaques in India. This is not the findings. Calling out to him. They designed a study. It says nothing about the findings. The researchers hope to find out. This is what they hope. This is the purpose of the study, the reason they're doing the study. That's not the findings. We need to find the findings, okay, according to our goal here. The researchers studied how macaques behaved around both humans holding food and that's the method. That's what they did in the study. So again, every study, it's got a reason for the study, a motivation, a hypothesis, a method, and then findings or results. All the answers here are everything but the findings, the reason, the method, the hypothesis. Nothing here except A tells us what the findings of the study are. Rhetorical synthesis. The student wants to present the Q6-Q10 study and its conclusions. So we're looking for the conclusions or the findings of the study, probably at the end. Okay. Let's see. Let's read in context. Anyway, in 2013, archaeologists studied cat bone fragments they had found in the ruins of Q6-Q10, a Chinese farming village. The fragments were estimated to be 5,300 years old. A chemical analysis of the fragments revealed that the cats had consumed large amounts of grain. So this is one of the results. They consumed grain. Well, that would suggest to me they actually lived around the people. They were domesticated, right? Because grain is a human crop. The grain consumption is evidence that the cats may have been domesticated. There you go. It said exactly what I said. I didn't read that, honestly, beforehand. Okay, so what's the conclusion here? That the cats ate grain, therefore they were domesticated. So A, as part of the study, a cat domestication, a chemical analysis was conducted, found in, now this is more about method, right? That's not the result. A 2013 analysis of cat bone fragments found suggests that cats there may have been domesticated 5,300 years ago. Yeah, that's the suggestion. That's the result. I think this is going to be correct. B. We'll check C and D. In 2013, archaeologists studied what cats in Q6-Q10 had eaten more than what? No. The fact that they ate grains is not a conclusion. The conclusion is that as a result, they were domesticated. D, cat bone fragments estimated to be 5,300 years old were found in, okay, that's just laying a statement of the background to the study. B is the correct answer. 10, another rhetorical synthesis. In this case, the student wants what goal? To emphasize the thoroughness of Ida Tarbell's investigation into the Standard Oil Company. So we want to focus on her thoroughness. So she did a lot of detailed work. That's what we want to bring out. Let's see where that is. Muckrakers were journalists who sought to expose corruption in U.S. institutions during the Progressive era. So this is background. Ida Tarbell's probably a muckraker, not yet showing a thoroughness of her investigation, her method or approach, which is what we're really asking about. Ida Tarbell was a muckraker who investigated the Standard Oil Company. Okay, so now we're getting the background information. We're getting close. She interviewed Standard Oil Company executives, oil industry workers, and public officials. So she went to a lot of sources. This is evidence of her being thorough. She examined thousands of pages of company documents and communications, letters, and financial records. Okay, she's being thorough about this too. Her book exposed the company's unfair. That's kind of the result. So she interviewed a lot of people. She looked at a lot of documents. That's what we want to see in the answer. She not only interviewed executives, oil industry, and public officials, but also examined thousands of pages. That's it right there. That is indicating the thoroughness of her work. Tarbell, who investigated the Standard Oil Company, was a muckraker. No, we know that. We kind of figured that out. That's not answering the question. C, as part of her investigation of Standard Oil, muckraker conducted interviews. Well, she did a lot more than that, and that does not show thoroughness. Published in 1904, muckraker's book exposed the company. Well, that was the result of her thoroughness. She was thorough, as demonstrated by the 2 bullet points showing she interviewed a lot of people in the industry and she did a lot of document searching and background work. A is the correct answer.